What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark, MovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic. And today, I've been given a screener for a movie that's dropping on video on demand. And this is Without Arrows. It's it's a retrospective documentary, like a family documentary based centric. So we'll get into it. But first, if you could like and subscribe, that would be great. Um, I'm a blind film critic who talks a lot about audio description and accessibility, and everybody's running from DEI. I would love for you guys to run towards it with me, and or toward it. There's no S, toward it with me, and we'll get uh, we'll get there. Anyway, back to Without Arrows. I was presented this film without audio description. This one definitely needs audio description. I also got a film called Trinity, which is also from the Indigenous perspective about Navajo people being exploited for the Oppenheimer project. That's a really quick and loose way. You can check out my review of Trinity. This is more of like a familial exploration, like a documentary that somebody would make about their family, which I also sort of already got this year. Time Passages is a documentary that I reviewed where a guy's sort of going back through his family and archival footage and stuff like that and trying to piece things together. It's funny that sometimes your own family ends up being like the solid source material for your documentary film. This one's a little hard to follow without audio description, I'm not gonna lie. And actually even more so than Trinity. I got a lot out of Trinity. It was just structured differently and it gave me a lot of information. This one, I got some stuff. I mean, there is talking to the camera. It's less structured. And there are a lot of times where dialogue is not driving the film. So the filmmaker's taking the opportunity to show rather than tell, which is great for filmmaking, for sighted filmmakers. And this is kind of where audio description comes into play for blind and low vision users, is when that happens and we have those moments, we actually are able to connect them and know what's going on. And even in and around when it's talking, we get contexts to where people are when they're talking. What do they look like? How old are they? What does the room look like that they're in? Are they alone in the room? Are there other people in the room? Are they looking at the camera? Are they looking at something else? I mean, there's so many other things that contextually we can bring into the film through audio description. But this is one of those films that without audio description, I really can't even sort of give a pass without saying unwatchable due to lack of audio description. So, Trinity had moments where that kept me from being able to fully embrace it. I tend to occasionally give a pass to a documentary because you can get a documentary that is nothing but talking and just gives you tons of information. And sometimes, because I've watched so many documentaries, audio description on documentaries can be very spotty. This one would not be that. This one would have plenty of room to describe and to bring us into this family and to bring us into this film and this story. And instead of leaving us out, which is what this film does a little bit. So as excited as I am to know that there are Indigenous filmmakers out there continuing to make films like Without Arrows, and I support them and I want to be able to talk about this, and simply the existence of a review on my channel for a film called Without Arrows will remind you there's a film called this that you can look for on video on demand if you happen to be a sighted person who might be interested in this type of film that other channels would not put on theirs. I'm more than happy to do that, but at the end of the day, my grade is unwatchable due to lack of audio description. I struggled with this one. I really did. And I don't even really have a firm grasp on the film itself to be able to say that. So even a floating grade, which I sometimes do when I'm close to understanding what a film is, I don't know, man. I don't know why I would go negative on this film, but I've been surprised. There was at least one film that I saw last year for 2024 that I was offered a screener of, and I thought the same thing. And then I got audio description, I got context to a lot of things that were happening sort of like visually, and it just didn't work for me anymore. So because of that, it's possible, but I generally I can pick up at least a would I like it, would I not like it vibe. I think I would lean positive, but how positive is the question? So I don't know. Um, so that's Without Arrows. Sorry, sports fans. If you're a filmmaker for Without Arrows, it's still coverage. You know, what's the thing about there's no such thing as bad press? It's a review of Without Arrows on YouTube. So, and I'm not saying don't watch it. I'm just saying, as a blind film critic, this is my individual perspective. And I'm followed by other blind users, a lot of them, not all of them. Some of them are sighted, which is why I continue to talk about films like this. And who knows what'll materialize? Maybe one more person will rent Without Arrows that wouldn't have rented otherwise. So, thanks for watching. Remember, inclusivity is not a bad word. Actually, neither are diversity and equity. They're all good things. I don't know why we're running from them. And I'll see you guys on the other side.